Pazunia, the plane of infinite portals, the palace of 1001 closets, the plane of yawning pits, the first layer of the abyss. It is a barren, dusty place without life or greenery, baking beneath a hell-red sun. A vast land of rocky, windswept barrens dotted with pits, canyons, tors, and mesas. Iron fortresses housing lesser demon lords and giant pits that lead to deeper layers of the abyss are scattered everywhere in this place. This is the first place you arrive at when entering the abyss, and it is the only reliable way of getting anywhere else within the home of demons. Now, how is this place described in the different editions of Dungeons & Dragons? The visual description I just gave of it being a barren, rocky plain with a scorching red sun is the same description given in every edition of D&D, however there are occasional differences. In 1st edition, it specifies that Pazunia is the only well-known layer of the abyss. The only information we have on the other layers is very limited and vague. In 2nd edition, it is never actually called Pazunia, since Pazuzu is never mentioned in 2nd edition, so it's only referred to as the Plane of Infinite Portals. In 4th edition, there's a little bit of added detail that once every millennium, a large orbiting Earth mote called Aothor blocks the red sun, blanketing the layer in darkness for several days. During this time, the Queen of Chaos crawls up to Pazunia and holds court with the remaining Oberith lords. Hazards of the plane include spitting clouds of gravel formed from the bones of millions who have fallen here, the harsh heat which makes rest difficult to obtain, and the barren and shifting landscape that makes navigation treacherous. In 5th edition, no official 5e book actually ever mentions Pazunia. Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes seems to imply that the Abyss has no first layer, and when you arrive, you are taken to a random layer. It mentions portals that lead to other layers, but they are inconsistent, changing their location and destination on a whim, as opposed to the few constant pits that always lead to the same place in the older editions. The 5th edition book, Minsc and Boo's Journal of Villainy, does mention Pazuzu and Pazunia, and even says that in addition to leading to other abyssal layers, that some of the gates lead to other planes as well. However, even though Minsc and Boo's Journal of Villainy was published by Wizards of the Coast, it was written by a different team and only released on DM's Guild, so I don't believe it's considered canon, but it's worth mentioning anyway. Ruler. Technically, Pazunia does not have a single ruler. There are countless lesser demon lords that control the various iron fortresses scattered throughout the layer, and each one of these controls their tiny section of Pazunia. However, I can't talk about the rulers without mentioning the demon lord who holds the most power here and who the layer is named after, Pazuzu. Pazuzu is the demon lord of evil flying creatures, and he rules over the skies of the abyss. Not just the skies of Pazunia, although that is where he lives and spends most of his time, but technically he rules the sky of every layer of the abyss. In 2nd edition, Pazuzu is not mentioned at all, and he seems to just not exist in 2nd edition. In 3rd edition, Pazuzu is listed as the ruler of Pazunia. However, under the rulers section, in addition to Pazuzu, it also says contested because of the iron fortresses. So I'm not exactly sure what his rulership status is, but he is considered a ruler. And then in 5th edition, as I stated earlier, Pazuzu is not mentioned in any of the official books, but is mentioned in Minsc and Boo's Journal of Villainy, along with being given a stat block. Personality. In all editions, Pazuzu's personality is described the same way. It says that Pazuzu cares nothing for ruling demons or for ruling layers of the abyss. His goals are higher. He lusts for innocence, purity, and honesty. He loves corrupting the innocent. He enjoys offering aid that at first appears beneficial, but would ultimately spell doom on the victim in the long run. Since these innocent traits are rare in the abyss, he focuses most of his effort on the material plane. One more fact about Pazuzu is that, at least according to 3rd and 4th edition lore, he is not a regular demon. At least he's not a Tanari demon. He is an Oberith, which are basically the proto-demons. They've been around for an extremely long time, and they are the ones that created the Tanari demons, which is the most numerous type of demon. In fact, every demon in the monster manual is a Tanari. Inhabitants. Non-demons. Because the plane has many gates that lead to a variety of layers and thus business opportunities, many merchants, mortals, and outsiders can be found in Pazunia. Demons. More chaotic evil petitioners manifest as mains on Pazunia than any other layer of the Abyss. They are eaten or forced into war gangs and brought back to another layer. Some of the lesser demon lords who live in the iron fortresses of the layer also use them to bolster their defenses. Mali Day wander Pazunia, forcing unaffiliated demons to the town of Styros, where they are sent off to the lower planes to fight in the Blood War. The Mali Day are also tasked with provisioning the armies and demand tribute from all they encounter. Those who can't provide are immediately conscripted for the Blood War. You also have many flying demons, such as Vrox and Kazmis, that constantly swarm the skies and perch atop the jagged tors. Other than those, you can obviously find basically any kind of demon here, but those are the most common. So in addition to Pazuzu and all of the lesser demons found here, there are 2 demon lords that can be found here, at least according to 3rd edition. Aldenak, who is a reclusive demon princess. Similar to Pazuzu, she adores corrupting the good and innocent, but in a much less subtle way. Her cults in the material plane kidnap goodly creatures such as paladins or Chiron, and then bring them to Aldenak's egg in Pazunia, where they are transformed into evil versions of themselves. And then Baltazo, a retired general of the Blood War with many victories under his belt. When Fraz Urblu was imprisoned on the material plane, many demon lords tried to conquer his lair of Hollow Heart. Baltazo knew he couldn't win, so instead conquered Sholin-Gat, the iron fortress that sat on the pit that led to Hollow Heart, so he can subtly influence the affairs on the lair. When Fraz Urblu returned, he wiped out the demon lords on his lair, but saw value in defending the Pazunia gate and struck a deal with Baltazo, allowing him to continue to defend it and act as a sponsored vassal of the demon prince. Baltazo appears as an extremely corpulent human man with an elongated face and deep green skin that constantly fizzles and pops, spilling a variety of sickly fluids upon a poor-fitting military uniform festooned with dozens of ostentatious medals and ribbons. Locations. The Iron Fortresses. In all editions, countless iron fortresses dot the landscape here. They house lesser demon lords, which are demons that have become powerful enough to amass a following of other demons, but not powerful enough to conquer their own lair. They use these fortresses as their home base while they scheme on how to acquire more power and rule over a lair. These plots usually involve acquiring cultists in the material plane to further their power, so they spend much of their time astral projecting in these towers. In 1st and 2nd edition, these fortresses are randomly strewn about, but in 3rd and 4th edition, it specifically says that they are located on the edges of the pits that lead to other layers. Broken Reach. In 2nd edition, it is a fortress built on top of the Plague Mort portal in the Outlands by a succubus named Red Shroud. Built sometime in the 12th century DR, it is a set of crumbling towers surrounded by outworks of trenches, walls, and spiky barricades. All the important parts are underground. The Reach has quite the diverse traffic of visitors, including scholars from Sigil, insane people from Pandemonium, and Gitzerai from Limbo, and even has lavish guest chambers. Don't be fooled by its civility though, they don't give anyone second chances. The Reach is a gathering point for the strong, but it devours the weak. Combat is forbidden inside, but death matches happen every hour or so outside its walls. The owner of this establishment, the succubus Red Shroud, is described as a flame-haired task mistress, powerful and feared by everyone in the Reach. Her 4th and current consort is a Nalfejni named Igrax the Skullbiter, who sustained an injury in the Blood War that made him dim-witted. He is an obedient slave to his mistress and pants like a dog whenever she approaches. Red Shroud enforces her will with an iron fist. She made her reputation as a poisoner and a font of dependable information. The walls keep those protected inside. She forces the Mali Day to look for conscripts for the Blood War elsewhere, and she expects all within to help protect the Reach if it comes under attack. She will sometimes order the death of someone who enrages her by doing fairly innocuous things, such as by snoring, ordering cheap drinks, or wearing turquoise. Or sometimes she just sentences people to death because she can. The Reach is well stocked in food, drink, weapons, and armor, but everything costs triple their normal worth here. In 3rd edition, it's given the exact same description, except with the added small details that Red Shroud is a sorceress and that she sells a wide variety of venoms and poisons, and gives great deference to guests who offer her some new lethal substance. Styros. Mentioned both in 2nd and 3rd edition, Styros is a barracks town. It is where the Mali Day corral fresh conscripts and try to get them aboard a ship to send them down the river Styx to fight in the Blood War. Lakes of Molten Iron. Mentioned in both 2nd and 3rd edition, these are perpetually smoldering lakes of iron where all the weapons of the lair and the walls of the fortresses are forged. It is so crucial to the security of the plane that Yugoloth's and Pazuzu forces have attempted to lay siege to the Lakes of Molten Iron several times. When within 100 yards of it, a creature takes 1d10 fire damage per round. Mithringo. Mentioned only in 2nd edition, this is the closest iron fortress to Broken Reach, and is thus watched closely by Red Shroud. If a demon were to try and take over Broken Reach, it would be the one ruling here. Gallows Gate. Only mentioned in 2nd edition, it is one of the largest strongholds of Pazunia, a ramshackle town ruled by the Merilith Geronda. It says that Geronda has dreams of settling down. Aldenac's Egg. Mentioned only in 3rd edition, an ovoid iron fortress where cultists of Aldenac bring captured, good-aligned creatures, where the Lady of Chains transforms them into twisted mockeries of what they used to be, changing their alignment to chaotic evil. The Egg is a towering structure packed with grim laboratories, operating theaters, and hideous audience chambers draped in the skins of failed experiments. Great Ziggurat of Oth Mogelroth. Only mentioned in 4th edition, it is a colossal, multicolored ziggurat where the Oberith lords convene every millennia. A labyrinthine subterranean complex stretches miles, culminating at the Well of Entropy, a portal said to be the only connection to the ruins of the Oberith's former realm. Lord's Rook. Only mentioned in 4th edition, it is built on a gargantuan floating earth moat, and it serves as a palace and eyrie for Pazuzu. While in the cathedral, Pazuzu perches on his blinding claw throne, a powerful artifact fashioned from the talon of a fiendish rock. It's embossed with gold and studded with rubies the size of vultures' eggs. This throne floats in the air, and wherever Pazuzu scouts other realms, he brings his throne with him. There are a few other locations not mentioned in this video. Pazunia has had a lot of locations added in various editions, so I just included the ones I thought were important or at least interesting. That is the lore on Pazunia, the first layer of the Abyss throughout all 5 editions of D&D. I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe for more D&D lore.